Hey iedereen, ik ben Raphael. Wow, wait, what? Raphael? Ja, inderdaad, ik heb er dus voor gekozen om mijn naam te veranderen naar Raphael, omdat ik Nick te dicht vond staan bij mijn officiële naam. Maar goed, we gaan lekker verder. Zoals jullie kunnen zien, gaan we vandaag een game spelen en dat is Stanley's Parable. Ik ga kijken hoe deze game is. Hopelijk vinden jullie het leuk. Knal vast een dikke duimpje omhoog. Want dat is altijd leuker dan een duimpje naar beneden. En blijf lekker kijken naar deze nieuwe video op The Craziest. Oké, zoals jullie kunnen zien. We zijn vandaag bij de Stanley's Parable. En laten we gewoon lekker de game beginnen. The end is never... The end... Oké, the end is never... The end is... Loading. Oké. Maar het kan ook nog is never the end is loading. Oké, sorry guys. Ik ben echt in mijn flauwstemming vandaag. Het duurt me echt even iets te lang voordat hij is opgestart. Dus... Ik zie jullie zo terug. Oké, hij laat nu in één keer iets een heel stuk sneller. Dus ik hoop dat hij dat ook gewoon lekker blijft doen. En niet dat we straks gewoon de hele tijd kunnen gaan zitten wachten. Want daar heb ik echt totaal geen zin in. Ik heb gewoon zin om deze video te maken. En daar gaan we dus nu gewoon voor.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oké.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
Oh, dus ik heb
Employee
gewoon...
number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a
Ik ben dus een medewerker en ik heb een cijfer. Ik heb niet eens meer een naam in dit bedrijf. Het is gewoon een cijfer.
This is what employee 427 did
4, 2,
every day,
7.
of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Oké.
And Stanley was happy.
Ik snap niet dat je blij kan zijn met zo'n baan.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oké, maar is er dan niet iets wat ik hier zo moet meenemen of zo? Ik kan daar niet eens langs. Oké, ja, tuurlijk. Kan ik echt ook geen enkele deur in?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ja, dat
What
zie ik
could it
ook.
mean?
Oh.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Maar
co-workers.
staat hier wel een computer aan? Ah, damn, je kan niet eens zien wat erop staat. Ik heb de computer uitgezet. Ik hoop niet dat dat belangrijk was. Oké. Oké, die gaat ook niet open. Ik ga nu gewoon eerst alle computers uitzetten. Dit is zoveel stroomverspilling! Maar ik zie wel dat daar een deur open staat. Zou ik daar eens niet op een of andere manier kunnen komen? Dat zou wel echt leuk zijn. Ik ben wel eigenlijk benieuwd wat daar zo... Dit is gewoon echt een doolhof. Dit is gewoon geen bedrijf. Besef trouwens dat al deze nummers die hierop zitten, dat zijn gewoon van medewerkers, van mijn collega's. En ze hebben gewoon niet eens een naam, gewoon een cijfer.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ik wil niet daar de door in mijn left. Ik ga lekker daar de door in mijn right. Want dat is mijn recht.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ja, tuurlijk. Nee, dat was waarom ik voor deze deur heb gekozen. Omdat ik nog heel even in een personeelsruimte wil kijken. Nee, ik wil gewoon niet luisteren naar wat het apparaat zei. Logisch, denk ik wel. Als het goed is, luisteren jullie ook niet zomaar naar mensen, dus...
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Oh ja, kan dat? Ik kan niet eens koffie pakken. Dit is gewoon echt
But
gemeen.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ja, maar ik wil niet door de eerste open deur aan mijn left. Hé, maar wacht daar. Ja, dag. Ja, maar... Wacht, je kan niet naar beneden.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Dat is echt niet aardig om te zeggen. Ik ben helemaal niet slecht in...
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Wie is...
This is it, Stanley.
Wie is zij?
Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's
Hij
been
chanteert me.
waiting.
Dit is gewoon chantage. Hij is bezig met chanteren. Je mag niet chanteren. Wat is dat? Ik ben bang in het donker. Is er een lampje? Lampje? Nee, er is schijnbaar geen lampje. Oké. Wow, joh.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her.
Hij is
If you
echt aan
can
het
truly
chanteren.
place your faith in another.
Ik neem gewoon op. Je houdt maar gewoon je mond dicht.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
Ik word een beetje
All right,
bang.
now, I want you to come in and tell me all
Vertel
about
zo dood.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Hey.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Maar waarom moet ik op 4... Ik ga op 5 drukken. Ik ben gewoon verplicht om op 4 te drukken.
Look at him there,
Irritant.
pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Hey! Ik wil geen kinderverhaaltje vertellen.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Ik hou van je.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Dat ben ik niet. Ik wil je weg.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Maar wacht, dan luister ik alsnog naar hem. Maar als ik nou niet verder druk, dan gaat het spel niet verder.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Oké, ik vraag mezelf niks af.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him.
Okay.
I'm compelled to.
Yeah.
I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button.
Ja, dat denk ik nu inderdaad. Oké, thanks. Ik ben dus dood gegaan. Ik weet niet waarom. Poging 2. Ik ga nu gewoon de andere kant op. Ik ga niet meer door die ene deur door. Ik ga nu in één rechte lijn.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Even kijken hoor. We moesten deze richting op.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nee, want ik ga nergens stoppen.
Wow. Yes. This room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ik ga de eerste open deur nemen.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Nee. Ik ga dus gewoon nu met een soort van lift naar beneden.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
Nee, natuurlijk
He
niet.
wanted to wander about
Ik ga
and
niet
get
weer de
even
hele
further
tijd.
off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
Ik ga dus niet weer opnieuw naar dat kantoor terug.
Left.
Oké.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right.
Stop met deur in mijn gezicht dicht te
said it was to
slaan!
the right. What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Zelfs het systeem weet het niet meer.
Now, let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now.
Okay.
This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Er staat alleen een auto, dat vertrouw ik niet. Ik ga hier gelijk in.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Nee!
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh.
Nee!
Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Nee!
This time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Ik haat deze vent vanaf nu. Ik haat hem gewoon oprecht. Maar nu
All
vraag
of
ik
his
me toch
co-workers
af
were gone. What could
wat
it
er gaat
mean?
gebeuren als ik
Stanley
gewoon
decided to go to the
rechtdoor
meeting room. Perhaps he had
en
simply missed a memo.
niet naar beneden gaan. Oké.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Het hele nadeel is van op je telefoon filmen is dat ouders soms kunnen bellen. Dus ik moet nu gewoon weer vanaf dit punt en...
All of his co-workers
Ja,
were gone.
ik ga
What
gewoon weer
could
terug
it
naar
mean?
hetzelfde punt. Ik ga
Stanley
gewoon kijken
decided to
wat er
go
nu
to the
gaat
meeting
gebeuren.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
En
memo.
ik wil gewoon kijken wat er gaat gebeuren als ik gewoon weer door diezelfde deur heen ga. En...
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Oké. We gaan terug. Ik ga nu ook gewoon lekker computers uitzetten. Misschien helpt dat.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
What? Oh.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Oké, ja, dat hielp.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Oké, dus daar zit dus echt helemaal niks meer. Oké, we moeten dus nu gewoon echt die lijn volgen.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence.
Be like,
right?
ik moet gewoon over de
Now,
muur
if
heen.
my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Deze muziek helpt dus echt totaal niet. Stanley, onderweg naar zijn kantoor. Hij laat me volgens mij
Cut the music. Go
rondjes
back
lopen.
and look at that fern.
Welke fern?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Waarom zou ik een plant gaan observeren? Ha! Nou, we gaan gewoon weer door. Maar nou vind ik het wel jammer dat leuke muziek is gestopt.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Oké. Die lijn brengt mij gewoon letterlijk weer hier.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Nee! Oh! Waar heb ik mezelf in geduwd?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Oké. Dat is een hele andere richting. Daar ben ik het wel mee
Now,
eens.
yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story.
Ik ben
Well, it could be
Raphael
anything.
trouwens.
What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
Hij laat mij
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
just slopen voor mijn idee.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Ik vind die lijn leuk. Ik mag die lijn. Ik kan alleen niet door het plafond heen. Dat gaat niet. Nou. Nu hebben ze het leuke muziekje. Oh.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley. Our destiny awaits.
Nee, mijn lot. Niet de jouwe. Ik loop. Jammer. Het is een confusion ending.
Oh, hold up. What's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending?
Ik ben...
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So
The
now,
mirror
according
is
to the
gone,
schedule,
and-
I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall.
Na een lange tijd
Well,
gaat Stanley
who
dood.
consulted me? Why don't I get to
Mijn
decide?
personage
Why
gaat
don't I get
dood.
a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want
Ik
the
ben
game
al
to
wel
keep
17 minuten
restarting.
geleden.
I
Wel
don't want to forget
vervelend
what's
dat er
going
gewoon
on.
staat.
I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Aparte deur.
How
maar
would we
I
even
like it.
know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite
Nee.
sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always
Nee.
saying that life is about the journey
Nee.
and not the destination. So I hope
Ik
that's
ben
where
het
we
hier
are
niet
right
mee
now.
eens.
We'll find out, won't we?
Dit is geen
Eventually.
verhaal.
Well, in the meantime...
Ja. Ik schrok. Ja. Oké. Dit spel laat me al vaker schrikken als wat menig vriend of vriendin bij mij ooit heeft gedaan. Gefeliciteerd, spel.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oké, maar vanaf hier is het nog wel gewoon goed. Dus...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ja.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
De eerste open.
And so
Oké,
he
dus we weten nu al
detoured
wat
through the
bijna alles
maintenance
heen
section,
leidt.
walked straight
Dus
ahead to the
we
opposite
gaan-
door, and got back on track.
Oké. En dan nu?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Dus,
Feeling a wave
oké.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Maar hij gaat nog gewoon over. Hè? Maar dat klopt niet. Dat hoort met een apparaatje te gaan. Ik kan niet eens meer lopen. Oké, wat staat daar nou? Broom closet, oké.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Want als je naar beneden gaat, dan komen we waarschijnlijk weer uit op datzelfde punt. Maar als ik dood ga, verlies ik. Ik wil alsnog kijken wat er beneden is. Maar, hè? Dit is gewoon een parkeergarage.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post
wie
during
weet,
work
misschien
hours.
slaat hij me
He
wel in
might
één
be
keer knock-out.
fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Dat was gewoon echt creepy. Mijn game crashte gewoon. Hij crasht gewoon. Compleet.
He yelled.
What the fuck?
This is all a dream.
What the?
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought.
Dat is een hele diepe gedachte.
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it.
Dat is een hele
He
diepe
would
gedachte.
prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Ik zou het dan helemaal niet meer vertrouwen als je het zo zou zeggen.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Heel
And
zielig dit.
everything went black.
And then Stanley dies.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Ik ben nou in één keer een vrouw?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the
Stanley!
body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself. and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am
Dat
sane.
is zo gemeen.
I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very
Karma.
important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension,
Apart,
the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Wat dacht je van 911, oftewel in het Nederland 112? Dat zou ik tenminste wel doen als ik iemand half dood zie gaan op straat. Maar nee, die vrouw die denkt van... Oké.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
De linkerkant pakken. Ja. Oké, dat is dus gewoon de snelle route.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Oké, hier zijn we dus ook al
Feeling
geweest.
a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Dus we
office.
moeten naar boven. Hopelijk bijten. Wat is hij een krent? Kijk nou hoe het er hierboven uitziet. Het ziet er gewoon allemaal zo netjes en chic uit. Oh, geen secretaresse, dat is makkelijk. Ja, zo binnenlopen.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Nou, ik zou het ook wel baas willen zijn.
Unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. Ik ga het voor de zekerheid opschrijven. 2.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Maar waar moet... Oh, hier. Oké.
2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Wow. Hey, lift. Dat is vaak niet goed, toch, als liften zo dicht gaan. Ik ben claustrofobisch. Niet zomaar tegen deuren dicht doen. Ik voel me opgesloten. Ja, dat moest eruit.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Maar staat daar escape. Staat daar gewoon escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, The truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oeh, rood lampje. Holy, dat zag er echt heel raar uit. Ja, het was inderdaad. Ik moest het gewoon zeker weten, jongens. Ik moest gewoon zeker weten of het echt mijn dood zal zijn. Wie weet, misschien lult die man gewoon weer van alles en nog wat raakt. Ik ben niet dood.
As the machine whirred into motion,
Ik ben niet
Stanley
dood.
was inched closer and closer to his demise. He reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell. Plotch.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Wie is die vrouw? En waarom heeft ze me laten gaan?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Wie is die vrouw?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Ah. Maar dit is niet mijn kantoor. Dat is echt een nare streek. Echt een er staan er serieus ook credits. Hij is zelfs, als hij dus schijnbaar dood is, is hij... Ik geloof niet dat dit het einde is. Dat kan gewoon niet. Oh wow.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another.
Maar wat als ik nou dus
How
wel
they
gewoon
both wish to be free.
rechtdoor had gelopen?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Dood geweest?
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Ik moet dus gewoon luisteren naar deze game. En niet mijn eigen beslissingen maken. Maar jongens en meisjes, ik maak wel gewoon mijn eigen beslissingen. En dat moeten jullie ook gewoon natuurlijk doen. Vooral in games. Want je kan je niet zomaar voor
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Ik hoor man.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oké. We gaan het gewoon nog 1 keer overnieuw doen. Dit is mijn laatste kans.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Okay.
he entered the door on his left.
En we gaan nu gewoon in 1 keer door. Door de linkerdeur. En
Yet there was
niet
not a
naar
single
escape.
person here either.
Want dan weten we
Feeling
wat
a
er nu gaat
wave of
gebeuren. Je
disbelief,
gaat er gewoon
Stanley
echt dood.
decided
En
to
je
go
komt
up
erachter
to
dat
his
Stanley
boss's office.
gewoon dood
Hoping
is.
he
Maar
might find
ik
coming
wil
to a
weten of hij
staircase,
ook echt dood
Stanley
is,
walked
want
upstairs
volgens
to
mij
his
is hij
boss's
niet echt
office.
dood. Oké. Ja. 2 open doors.
Stepping into his manager's office,
Ja, dat
Stanley
weet
was
ik.
once
Dat
again
is de bedoeling.
stunned to discover not
Oké,
an
dus we zijn
indication
hier
of
zo
any human life. What could it mean?
de-
Stanley wondered aloud
Oh.
to nobody. He began Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he
Dit gaat zo
didn't
wel heel
even have a
sneller.
single minute to just let the
Maar-
narrator talk. That kind of anxiety
Ik snap het
isn't
niet.
healthy.
Waarvoor moet
So
je
he
luisteren naar
relaxed
een
for a few
game?
moments with some calming new age music.
2. 8, 4, 5.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated,
Ja.
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ik moet nu... Ik moet dus nu gewoon... En deze muziek is totaal niet kalmerend voor mij. Oké, thanks. Ja, top. Oké. En dan moet ik nu dus gewoon echt hier naar beneden.
Stanley
En
walked
ik
straight
moet
ahead
ook
through the
gewoon
large
echt
door that read Mind
Recht
Control
doorlopen. Ik
Facility.
mag gewoon geen enkele andere richting op. Ik moet gewoon die deur recht doornemen. Oké, we kennen weer. Maar jongens en
The
meisjes,
lights
laat me
rose
gewoon
on an
weten wat
enormous
jullie
room packed with
zouden doen
television
als jullie in
screens.
deze game zitten.
What
Zouden
horrible
jullie
secret
gelijk
did
in
this
1 keer
place
luisteren naar de
hold?
game of zouden jullie gewoon net zo
Thought to
koppig zijn als wat ik
Did
was?
he
Laat het
have
even
the
weten hier beneden in de
strength to
reacties. Ik
find
ben wel
out?
benieuwd naar wat jullie dachten.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their
Okay.
true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so
Hey,
many
maar wacht,
individuals
stond er eerst
reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ik denk dat je nu gewoon weer bij hetzelfde punt als het ware uitkomt.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Ik denk het wel, want niemand kan blij
Here
zijn
was
met
the
zo'n
proof.
baan.
The heart of the operation.
Althans,
Controls
ik in elk geval.
labeled with
Ik weet niet
emotions.
of ik de
happy
enige ben.
or
Laat het ook
sad
even hier beneden
or
weten in de
content.
comments.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another
Ja,
human
ik denk
life.
het wel
For
dat hij dat
he
heeft gedaan.
would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh my gosh. Er staat overal offline. Ja, nou, als jij mij kan vertellen hoe. Je vertelt me toch al heel de tijd dingen, dus ja, waarom ook niet? Oh, wacht hier, 5. Ik denk dan dat ik wel moet gaan beginnen bij 1. En ik zie daarboven, zie ik 4. Als ik het goed heb. Maar echt, laat me weten hier beneden, wat zouden jullie doen bij deze game? 1, 2, waar is 3?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to every... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control?
Ja, tuurlijk.
Oh, Stanley,
Control!
I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
Shit.
Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock,
Ik
Stanley.
moet op 3
That's
drukken.
30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No
heb
ending
zo het
here,
idee dat ik
just
weer
you
dood ga.
being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Hij heeft zijn zin niet afgemaakt. Hij heeft gewoon zijn zin niet afgemaakt. Oh. Oké.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Oké.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oké, dus dit is gewoon nog steeds hetzelfde. Dit is gewoon nog steeds hetzelfde allemaal.
Yet there was not a single person
Oké,
here
dus
either.
straks
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
op
Stanley decided to go
drukken.
up to his boss's
Niet
office.
op onder,
Coming to a staircase,
kom
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Opnieuw. Ik hoef hem niet meer in te voeren. Hij heeft me dus nog een andere kans gegeven. Hij heeft me nog een andere kans gegeven. Wat vinden jullie van deze game? Willen jullie dat ik vaker gamevideo's doe? Gooi dan gewoon nog steeds dat blauwe duimpje omhoog. Dat is altijd leuker dan een duimpje omlaag. En ja, waarom we echt voor een hele lange tijd niet meer hebben gepost is gewoon omdat we bijna geen inspiratie hadden. We waren echt met van alles
Stanley
bezig.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read
ideeën,
Mind Control Facility.
Ja, nieuwe ideeën bedenken. En nog veel meer. Dus ja, daardoor komen er nu wel wat meer
The lights rose on an
video's op.
enormous room packed with television
En
screens.
we hebben
What
dus wel wat nieuwe
horrible secret
ideeën.
did
We
this
hopen dat
place
jullie het ook
hold?
leuk gaan
Stanley
vinden.
thought to
Dus dat
himself. Did he have the
we hopen dat jullie het
strength to find
begrijpen.
out?
En dit is onder andere een van die nieuwe video's. Anders had hij nou niet op online gestaan.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of
Maar
them,
er staan-
eternally monitored in this
Ik
place
heb zo'n
where
idee dat ik
freedom
hier nog
meant
wat moet
nothing.
onthouden. Maar ik weet echt niet meer wat.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Volgens mij is het die. Echt in het... Nee. Oh, staat er.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life
Blijkbaar wel.
utterly blind to the world?
Ik zou echt in real life boos
But here
worden,
was the
denk ik.
proof. The heart of
Boos
the
en
operation. Controls
onbegrijpelijk.
labeled with emotions.
Ik zou het niet
happy
kunnen begrijpen.
or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he...
Ik heb nu op off gedrukt. Dit moet de juiste keuze zijn. Het kan niet anders.
Blackness. and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Je kan ook niet verder lopen.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still
Stanley
lay
vond het heel
unsolved.
zielig.
Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to
Ik moet er overheen kijken,
understand,
maar het lukt niet.
but to let go.
Echt irritant!
No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only
Ja,
thing
vraag ik
worth
me af.
knowing.
Hoe het gebouw er van
Stanley
buiten-
stepped through the open door.
Hé, maar wacht. Dat is dat gebouw. Waar je uiteindelijk...
Stanley felt the cool
waar we
breeze
uiteindelijk
upon
in
his
terugkwamen.
skin. The
Ik
feeling
mag
of
dus ook niet
liberation.
meer zien hoe het
The
eruit
immense
ziet.
possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that
Ik zou nog
things
altijd
were
maar één
meant
keer
to happen.
terugkijken.
And Stanley was happy.
Hij was toch wel happy? Hij was toch wel blij met zijn kantoorbaantje, een beetje op knopjes zitten drukken. Oké, dit was hem dus weer. Ik hoop dat jullie het leuk vonden. Knal gewoon met z'n allen een blauwe duimpje omhoog, want dat is altijd leuk en dan een duimpje naar beneden. En als jullie hem tot hier hebben gekeken, vul dan hier beneden in de reacties Happy Halloween, omdat het bijna Halloween is. Zodat ik kan zien dat jullie hem echt hebben gekeken tot aan het einde. Vertel hier beneden wat je ervan vond. En wat ik nog allemaal meer heb verteld, zet het hier beneden neer. Ik ben echt benieuwd naar jullie mening. En ik zou zeggen, tot de volgende keer en laters.